There we go. Now I'm going to be talking about networking and what you can do and how you can use it, benefits that it may provide you, and issues to watch out for. So when we talk about networking in the IT and cybersecurity industry, it is still a very focused career field. In other words, I don't go into a party or social group or my HOA or my mahjong club, whatever you want to say you go into. I don't go into these things expecting that I'm going to find another kindred soul, somebody who's also doing the same stuff that I am. It is still kind of specialized, and therefore, if you think about it, depending on the circles you run with, you could walk into a room and literally be the smartest person in the room on certain topics. Even if you're just a mentee, even if you're just getting started, even if you're just learning, all of those things are in relation to the people around you, not just how good you think you are. This entire mentorship program is called CyberSecurity Sensei. Does anyone recognize what the word sensei actually means? The literal translation of sensei. Anyone want to share? What do you think sensei means? When you hear sensei, what does it mean to you? Any of you have kids in martial arts? Or you go to martial arts? A lot of people, teacher. Serena, that's a very good one. Teacher, that's one. Another thought that you tend to hear a lot in the martial arts group is master. And that's not a direct translation of sensei. Sensei is actually two characters. You've seen some of the kanji that we've used around here. It's actually two characters, and one means person, and the other means before. And so sensei means one who has gone before. And that's literally what sensei means. In other words, I may be a little bit farther down the same path that you're going, and so therefore I have some value to you. But that applies throughout whatever we're learning. For example, Anderson, you have downloaded and started to use Wireshark. You probably know more about how to operate Wireshark and what to select and how to configure it than I do. What? It's true. I have not opened Wireshark since I was in my 40s. Okay? And I'm 66. So that's the thing to be thinking about. You have value in whatever situation you're in. When we talk about a networking group, let's say, I'll just give an example. I was at a cybersecurity summit last year in Tempe, Arizona, cybersecurity summit. And, so everybody in the room was cybersecurity, supposedly. But they weren't really, because there was the Cisco table, there was the Palo Alto Networks table, and they were infrastructure that did cybersecurity. See what I'm saying? Everybody brings your value, the things that you know and the things that you don't yet know, into a conversation, into an association with people around you, into whatever meeting you're at. And you need to be able to go in and read the room, find your value that you bring, and here's just the way I approach it. Chris, you may have a different suggestion, but the way I approach it is I always want to leave a person or a or group or a topic or something a little bit smarter than I found it. In other words, if I know of something that is of benefit to them, I feel that that is an appropriate time to consider sharing it. And I don't mean, hey, look what I know. You know, it's more along the lines of, hey, if you step off that curb, you're going to be in traffic. You know, it's providing value to people around you. And the more you think about that in your networking situations, the more you think about what you bring and how it may benefit the people around you, if you're doing it right and you're not just doing it out of pride, then pretty soon the people around you are going to pick up on that vibe and are also going to look at you as a resource for those particular things. That's what networking is all about. That's why you network. Now, early on in your career, you're just getting started. No one can expect you to walk in and be a master or something and be somebody who tells them the magic tricks to pull with latest technologies and that sort of thing. No, but you may have seen something that they didn't. You may have learned something that would help them tomorrow when they go back to work. Those sorts of things. So always be, when you're in a networking opportunity, always be thinking about not only the value of the people around you to you, but your value to them. I think that is a very healthy approach when you're networking. Chris, do you have any suggestions, thoughts, or ideas about how to approach networking?
I approach it with a why am I doing it part in the first place. And going back to your one video about finding your why, I do not like going to networking events without at least one goal in mind. Mm-hmm. And that goal does not necessarily mean, hey, I want a job. That goal could be, right, hey, I want to talk to at least 3 people. That could be a big step in a direction for some of you. I know for me, battling with social awkwardness and social anxiety, that's a huge goal for me, to actually approach people and talk to them. Could be that you're interested in that topic and you want to learn everything you ever wanted to learn, and you're in learn mode. And you're not in that mood to meet people, but at the same time, you want to talk to people just so you can get to know more information about that topic. Let's say zero trust. Best example I can give is I went to a conference one time about zero trust only because my reasoning was I didn't know what zero trust was. Yes, I read the CIS-Sensei books and all that great stuff, but I wanted to know the tools and the technology involved. So my goal for that was I wanted to talk to vendors, even though they were trying to sell me something. Hey, tell me about your product and why zero trust, and what is that connection to? I don't take it to heart what they actually say, but I'm not afraid to go ahead and ask questions and take notes, to go back to my research myself and be in that learn mode. Networking's not always, I want a job and I'm just befriending you to get a job. Networking is more, hey, I'm curious about something to the point that I want to learn about it and eventually come back and teach you and become an expert later on it. And that, I think my last story for this is how I got my opportunity. I've serviced my current opportunities leader multiple times with teaching him about software and the software install process on onboarding. And he just remembered me and said, yeah, you're pretty knowledgeable with what goes on in the organization, and you're very friendly, you're very open to learn. I want you. I'm going to hire you right on the spot. And I'm not saying it's going to happen all the time. It's not magic. But if you come in with the right mindset of networking, actually having a goal of what you want, and not necessarily saying, I want a job, more of, hey, I want to know more about that topic, or B, I want to meet more people who have the same likes and interests of me. That is a big step in the right direction if you approach networking that way versus approaching networking that you want a job. That's my 10 cents. Very similar to what you say, Scotty, but
I agree.
A little different approach.
Very good. Thank you, Chris. Also, at networking events, let's just say there may be networking opportunities at certain activities that aren't really focused on networking, but they're a good place for you to do so. The CyberSecurity Summit that I was at last year was not, it wasn't designed to be a networking event. However, they understood very quickly that, and they made room for it in their agenda for a period of time where they cut everybody loose. There were no programs going on or anything, and they just had floor time. In other words, they want you to be touching bases with people around you so that you can learn about them or learn who they are. They can learn who you are. You can, if you do it this way, exchange business cards, whatever you want to call it, but follow them on LinkedIn or something like that so that you can continue that association once this event ends. That's also very important in networking, to form associations. I'll give you one example. There's a gentleman up here in Tucson that works for a company called, I think it's called Mars Communications. And they're actually a managed service provider, an MSP, for cybersecurity. And his focus is on selling his service to organizations, corporations, etc., as a cybersecurity MSP. Great. Well, I'm not interested in hiring his company, nor am I interested in doing something that's similar, but I know that he's out there, and he knows that I know. So that's also the value in networking. You expand your knowledge because here's a very, very famous, and I presume none of you are aware of this. Henry Ford, the guy who helped bring the automobile to America. He didn't invent the car, but he made it a good business. Henry Ford, at one point, somebody from the press argued with him and said, you don't even know what you're doing. You don't even know about your own cars, because they were asking him specific questions about, I don't know, how certain things were made or, whatever. And they were asking the president of the company, and he didn't know. And he said, okay, I'm gonna give you guys the opportunity to have all of your questions answered. Meet me in my office on this day at this time. And so all of the press showed up at the office, and here was Henry Ford. His desk was full of telephones. And then they said, and he said, ask me anything. And somebody would say, okay, what about this, and this of these Ford automobiles or the manufacturing process or your hiring or whatever it was? and he'd reach over and he'd pick up a phone and he'd say, tell me about this and this and this. Okay, thank you. Hang up the phone and provide the answer. Then somebody else would ask him and say, hey, well, what about this? And he'd reach over to another phone and say, tell me about this and this and this. In other words, he didn't know, but he knew who did know. All right? That is networking at its peak, at its finest. I may not do anything with this guy, by the way, his name is Scott, up in Tucson, but I stay in contact with him because, number one, he's an MSP in cybersecurity. Number two, he's focused on being tops in the industry. And number three, he goes to places I may not even know about. And maybe I want to go too. You know, so networking is not always face-to-face. Hi, how you doing? Here's my business card. I want a job. It's much more than that. You expand your reach through your network. And how do you do that? Well, number one, every single one of you should have a LinkedIn page. Every single one of you should be on LinkedIn. Number two, you should have Chris and I as followers. I mean, we should be linked. That's what LinkedIn is all about. So if you don't have LinkedIn, get it, then go out and look for me and Chris and join up with us, because then you will also see some of the things that we share. Now, your network has grown not just by me and Chris, but the people that me and Chris know and associate with. That's the value of networking. One other thing that you can do, if you're already in LinkedIn, you're already starting this networking trip, it's important for people to see you doing things. Don't just sit and watch. Don't look at this as if it's a newspaper. You read it and then you go out and do stuff. You can be active in LinkedIn and not be posting, but you can see things. If it appears to be valuable to you, or here's something to think about. If I'm sharing something and I want to know if it's reaching the right people with the right message, it may or may not be my own original post, but if I'm sharing something, how do I know? I know because people, oh, I missed that. Somebody put something in the chat. I know because people like it.
I just put my LinkedIn in the chat. That's all, Scotty.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Chris. I'm really easy to find. I was an early adopter on LinkedIn, so my profile is literally named Scotty Ward. None of this, 24926 or anything like that. No, Scotty Ward. How? So I was an early adopter. But the important thing to remember is you can help provide feedback to people that you, how do I say this? You want to build esteem and rapport with somebody. So when someone posts or reposts or comments in LinkedIn, first of all, get on LinkedIn and read it, or at least skim it. I rarely read a full article, but I do take a look at what they've posted, what their intent was, and I say, that's a good idea, or I think that's valuable. I'm serious. You hear this all the time, like if you're out watching YouTube or TikTok or whatever those other things are, where they say like, share, and subscribe. Honestly, that is you providing feedback to them. And you may not do anything, but you point out that you find this valuable, so maybe I'll post more on this later. Because I received feedback from you that this was valuable. Makes sense, everybody? Does anybody have any questions about this as we're doing this? I'm teaching you networking gold standard stuff, okay? This is how to make LinkedIn work for you, or whatever other association you use. When you like, when you repost, I don't know if you guys have watched me on LinkedIn. I do a fair amount of reposting, but not a lot, maybe a couple times a week. But it's something that I found this valuable. You might as well. And it's not all about see how smart I am. Don't do it that way. Remember that, well, I'll use this as an example. I think I've got about 400 followers on LinkedIn. And there are others that have much more, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Other people have, in fact, let me just go down and show you some of this as we're looking at this. It's not just me talking. We're looking at the screen. And here I am in LinkedIn. And you notice, here's the thing, and it pops up very frequently, the Arizona Tech Council. Why? Because I follow them. I am also a member. I pay $400 a year to be in the Arizona Tech Council. So, yeah, I'm interested in what they do. So I find something, and I didn't attend this, but they held it, and I think that that's a very good thing to do in the state of Arizona. So I come down, and I like it. I don't have to give all these cute little, happy faces and ideas and all this. No, I'll just like it. And if it was valuable, this is save the date. Oh, so this is an upcoming event. I'll repost. I can say something about it, but I have nothing to say. I'll just repost. So now when you look at my profile, you see that I reposted this activity, which means I'm looking at this activity. If you want to learn more about this activity, you either go to the people who put it together, or you might ask me, hey, have you heard anything about this, etc. That's networking, okay? It's not all, hi, here's my card, wearing my best tie. There's more to it than this. You can do things that provide value in your networking as well. And because I pay money to be on the Arizona Tech Council, you can bet your boots I'm going to try and help them be successful. And oh, by the way, Arizona Tech Council, I don't know if you saw this, it may be a little hard to see at this magnification. Arizona Tech Council has 11,500 followers. That's a good thing to become associated with. All right? Is that making sense to everybody? So let's take a look at me. And I'm going to go into my profile and we'll talk a little bit about this. Oh, look at this. Yesterday, Samson, who is one of our mentees, earned a Create and Manage Microsoft Sentinel Workspaces badge. Excellent. I am happy to congratulate a member of the program in this. And if it's great, and I think that it belongs, more people need to know about this or Samson, I'll repost. Boom. I didn't have to do much of anything except show up. And yet, in the last 5 minutes, I've done two things. I have helped Arizona Tech Council by showing my interest and sharing it, and I have shown my appreciation for Samson for what he's trying to do personally. I'm encouraging Samson. That's networking, okay? And you can do this stuff even without your certifications, even without your degrees. It doesn't matter so much what you bring to the table. It's what value you provide to the conversation or the topic or the individual. Okay? So I'm going to look, just for grins, we're going to go down and look at my profile. And I'm not doing this because I'm trying to brag, okay? I'm serious. I'm not trying to brag. But let's take a look at my profile. And I'm going to move this out of the way so that I can talk about it. Here's my profile. Number one, put a good photo up there. Even if it, you know, some people don't like having full face photos on the internet, but that's fine. You notice mine has lots of shadowing and stuff, so maybe people can't get something out of this except, oh, that's who he is. No, by the way, you notice I'm wearing my pastor's collar. That's on purpose. Here's what I tell people I am. I'm a pastor, I'm a cybersecurity mentor, and I'm an IT federal lead, in that order. Okay? Why? Because it helps to distinguish me from everyone else around. When people go on to LinkedIn, some of them call me pastor. Many of them, they already know me through IT and cybersecurity circles, so pastor is just something that's added on. All right? So I'm going to look at, oh, by the way, I say I'm with New Song Ministries, which is our church entity, but you notice I didn't say I'm an IT federal lead at the U.S. Department of Labor, where I work full-time. I didn't put that. I want to put this based on how I come across to the reader. All right? Now, go down to the About section. Here is where all the magic can occur. This is what people are going to look at first when they look at your LinkedIn resume. Spend a lot of time examining this. Okay? As you look at it, there is my job. All right? Right at the very top. That's fine. Professionally, that's what I do. However, I put that I'm a cybersecurity subject matter expert for the University of Potomac. I've done no work as the SME, except I gave a presentation to one class. That's it. But it looks good. Looks good. Okay? So as you're doing this, number one, use your profile or your About section to tell a story about you. What do you want people to know? Why do you want people to think that you're valuable? I will tell you that throughout the years, I've had many people contact me and say, your LinkedIn profile looks tremendous, I want to hire you. Or I'm interested in you, or whatever. All right, so that can happen. But you notice it's taken me decades to put this together. So don't expect to have that powerhouse impact immediately. But when you do get things, make sure you update your profile. When you do get, you know, honors in your class, make sure it's there. Nerman, class valedictorian should definitely be near the top of this area in your LinkedIn profile. All right, something to think about. And then I say I'm the founder of the mentorship program, the incident response team, and the speakers bureau. I could just say I'm a mentor. You know, I put together a mentorship program. No, these all do different things. And because I am the founder of this, that means I brought the vision into reality. I don't care if it's something that you did with your Girl Scout troop. If you did something special that is noteworthy, that people are going to look at and find attractive, consider putting it in your profile. Seriously. And then, you know, oh, this is all the amount of time I've done, blah, 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 who I've worked with, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, the main reason I did this one was not what I did, it was who I did it for. A presidential commission. Everyone on that commission was appointed personally by Bill Clinton. That tells you something. I worked with 22 absolute industry leaders in the same office. We went to lunch together. We did a lot of stuff for 2 straight years. And yes, I was their on-site help desk, but that was also my exchange administration period, because I did all the IT for them, including their security. That was probably the first time I can say I had a cybersecurity role. But I said the main thing was who I did it for. LinkedIn profile reviews. Very good question. Profile reviews are where someone, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, a peer, in other words, you follow them, they follow you, and then they provide references for you and you provide references for them in certain areas.
Exactly That's exactly.
I have never emphasized that. I think I've got about 4 or 5 out there. Some people actually collect those, and they share about everything they know about everybody they know about. Why? Because they want people to share back about you.
I'll add, Scotty, that,
yep.
Hey, if someone wants to share their profile privately, like email to us and have us look at it, it'd be like a resume review. Just
yes.
on LinkedIn. That's what I was thinking.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be public, like I share my link online. It could be, let's say, for example, Twyla sends you and I her profile link and goes, hey, Scotty, Chris, can you please look at my LinkedIn? That's what I was thinking.
Yep. Yeah, I would be happy. I would be proud to help you tune up your LinkedIn profile. First of all, get on LinkedIn. I know that some of you are not on LinkedIn. So get yourself on LinkedIn, follow Chris and I, and then say, what do you recommend? Here's what I've done. Here's what I know. Here's who I know. Here's where I go, etc. How can I make this look pretty? And we'll be happy to help you with that. And remember, I'm arranging this in the most attractive manner. It is not chronological. And I'll give you an example right here where I say, charter member, the Internet Society, charter member, Church of God in Christ Tech Team. The first one is from the early 1990s. The other one is from last month. But you don't see that in the profile. You just see charter member, charter member. Oh, that's cool. And these little title tidbits really do make a difference. So charter member, wow, that means you were in on the ground floor. That's why, if any of you remember, when we started the the CS-Sensei incident response team, I said, anybody who came in the first 2 months, you're a charter member. That should be on your LinkedIn profile. Charter member, CyberSecurity Sensei mentorship team. And oh, by the way, don't get stuck into, and here I just stepped away from the discussion for a minute, don't get stuck into Scotty is the mentor, Chris is the mentor, and I'm not. Anyone here who achieves your Security Plus certification, you have the right to ask to be a mentor in this group. Make sense? This is not the Scotty and Chris show. I am not restricting mentorship to who I think is best. If you have your Security Plus, call yourself a mentor, because you should be trying to share more with the team. I don't care what everybody's titles are. This is not an exclusive club. If you get your Security Plus or a cybersecurity degree, feel free to change your title from mentee to mentor, and I'll back you up. All right? As you're looking at these other things, here's my military. What did I do in the military? Well, I didn't really put what I did, but I put where I was acknowledged. To my knowledge, very few people have been to these 3 schools. Why? Because the first 2 are for enlisted people, and the third one is for officers. Very rare for somebody to go to all 3. I was an enlisted member in the Air Force for the first 2. I was a civilian in civil service when I went to the third one. I was a civilian attending an Air Force officer school. That's kind of cool. Very rare, but that's what I did. So you put that in there. Civilian of the Year. That sounds like fireworks going off. It was, yes, it was in 1994, I believe, and I was named the Civilian of the Year because I had just gotten my bachelor's degree in computer information systems. And so I was like a young person who's growing within the organization. So they named me Civilian of the Year. It's not like I had done magic for them, but I was acknowledged as being somebody who's trying to advance themselves. Let people know that you're doing these things, and they will acknowledge you. Point there. Here's another one, which is just an absolute add-on. I bolted it on because it sounds wonderful. Co-author. I didn't write the book. David Pogue, the guy from, at the time he was with the New York Times, David Pogue put this idea of the book together, and he asked everyone on Twitter to provide their inputs to him. And 3,100 people responded. He took all of their tweets and mashed them all together into a book. And there are tweets about this, and here are some of them. Some people talk about this, and here are some of them. There are tweets about this, and here are some of them. Well, I was a 2-time contributor. He accepted 2 of my tweets. And then he said, because I'm using all of your tweets, you can be proud to call yourself a co-author of this book. Why? Because you provided content. And David Pogue did not want to do 3,100 copyright acknowledgments, if you think about it. So he called us all co-authors. Additionally, I paid a little bit of extra money, and I received his book signed by him that says, "Hey, co-author, keep up the good work, David Pogue." It has nothing to do with anything, but it sure sounds cool. I was a co-author along with David Pogue on his book. Why? Because he said I was. What does that have to do with cybersecurity? Nothing, but it shows that I'm a well-rounded person, and I like doing stuff, and I have fun at it. Okay? So always remember, as you're doing this, you're arranging this in the most attractive manner to the reader. May or may not be chronological. You can tell a story on this, but no tall tales. Don't stretch the truth. If you did it once, let's say you do it every day, for example. Remember also that you can use anything, even if it's not professional, to help bolster this. If you are I don't know, you've been the scout leader for the last 12 years for your kids. A scout leader for 12 years is something that people would look at and go, oh, that's good to know. Now I know more about you. Those are the sorts of things that all could have value in LinkedIn. And as you go along in your professional career, more and more and more is going to be toward the professional stuff and less toward the personal, but they all work together. Okay? All right, I just realized I'm over time, so I am going to stop this for the moment, but does anybody have any questions or comments? Questions or comments? All right, one last thing. When you, if you want to become known as a cybersecurity expert, you don't have to go to class to do it. You just have to be out there looking at cybersecurity things and sharing them. I am about ready to share this post on Nextdoor, and I wanted to show you. It's all the people in this area in Arizona, not all, but you know, a lot of people that have agreed to get together and learn about stuff. Well, I share like these FTC articles, how to get less spam in your email. I looked at the article, it looks valuable, so I shared the link and the title, and I say, okay, next post, done. So now people around see that I've posted about this, and they're like, oh, this guy knows about cybersecurity. Well, I know what articles to go look for. How did I get the FTC announcement? I subscribed to them on the FTC site. I'm not some authority, but I know where to look, like Henry Ford and those telephones. Okay. Last minute conversation before we go. Anyone? Oh, my very last recommendation to you. In LinkedIn, it's not about numbers. It's about quality of your contacts. I get requests to connect from lots of people that I do not connect with. I do not connect with them. Why? Because they are contacting me because they want to try and sell me something. And it's easy to see them. Look for people that provide value and connect with them. Don't just connect with everybody because they said, hey, I want to reach out and connect with you. Yeah, well, what do I have to do with a grocery business in Bangladesh? Okay, so guard your reputation because they will also show who you follow. So be careful. All right, that's all. I hope everybody enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun looking at my own LinkedIn profile and saying, what makes this something that people think is good? How is networking working for me? Okay. Chris, any last minute comments before we finish up?
Nope. Nailed it on the head.
Okay. Have fun, everybody, and I hope to see your LinkedIn stuff very shortly with me and Chris. Have a great Saturday and a great weekend.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
See you guys.